I haven't slept naturally in 6 months. The insomnia started after my divorce. Then I lost my job. Then the panic attacks began. My doctor suggested a sleep study at the Morpheus Institute downtown. Said they specialized in severe cases. Said their success rate was 98%. I should have asked about the other 2%. The facility looked normal enough. Modern building. Clean lobby. Cheerful receptionist who had me sign approximately 40 pages of consent forms. I didn't read them carefully. That was my first mistake. My technician introduced herself as Diana, mid-30s, professional smile. She walked me through the process as she attached electrodes to my scalp. 23 of them. I counted. These monitor your brain activity throughout the night, she explained. REM cycles, deep sleep stages, neural patterns, everything we need to understand your sleep disorder. The room looked like a hotel. Queen bed, television, private bathroom, except for the camera mounted in the corner, and the massive mirror that I knew was one-way glass. Try to sleep normally, Diana said. I'll be monitoring you from the observation room all night. If you need anything, just speak. I can hear you. She dimmed the lights and left. I lay there for hours, staring at the ceiling, hyper-aware of the wires attached to my head, the camera watching me, someone analyzing every movement. Then finally, around 2 a.m., exhaustion won. I don't remember falling asleep, but I remember the dream. I was in the same room, same bed. But something felt wrong. The shadows in the corners were too dark, too thick, like they were made of something solid. I tried to sit up. Couldn't move. Sleep paralysis. I'd experienced it before. That's when I saw Diana. She was standing at the foot of my bed, just watching me, her head tilted at an unnatural angle. I tried to speak. My mouth wouldn't work. She smiled, started walking toward me, each step impossibly slow. When she reached the side of the bed, she leaned down, her face inches from mine. Her breath smelled like copper and chemicals. "You're dreaming beautifully," she whispered. "Don't stop." Then her mouth opened, wider than any human mouth should open. I could see down her throat. It went impossibly deep, and at the bottom, something was moving. I woke up screaming. The lights were still dim. The room was empty. My heart was hammering. The electrodes were still attached to my head. I was about to call out for Diana when I heard it. Typing. Not from the observation room. From inside my room. I turned my head slowly. Diana was sitting in the corner chair, the one that had been empty when I fell asleep. She had a laptop balanced on her knees. She was typing, staring at the screen, not looking at me. But I'd just seen her on the security feed in my dream. She was supposed to be in the observation room. "Diana?" My voice cracked. She didn't respond. Kept typing. "Diana, what are you doing in here?" Her fingers stopped. Slowly, she looked up at me. In the dim light, her eyes reflected the laptop screen. 2 perfect rectangles of blue-white light where her eyes should be. "Go back to sleep," she said. Her voice was wrong. Flat. Like a recording. "I want to stop the study. I want these wires off." "You can't stop now." She closed the laptop. The room went darker. "You're in REM stage 4. If we disconnect you now, you might not wake up properly." "I'm already awake." "Are you?" The question made my stomach drop. She stood up, started walking toward the bed. I yanked at the wires on my head. They didn't come off. They were attached more securely than I'd realized, almost like they were embedded. "Please don't do that," Diana said. "You'll corrupt the data." I pulled harder. Pain shot through my scalp, but the electrodes held firm. Diana was beside the bed now. She reached out and grabbed my wrist. Her hand was ice cold. "The study isn't finished," she said. Then she pressed her thumb against my forehead, right between my eyes. Everything went black. I woke up to sunlight streaming through the window. My head was pounding. The electrodes were neatly removed. Diana was standing by the door with a clipboard. She looked completely normal. Professional smile back in place. "Good morning," she said cheerfully. "You did great. Got excellent data. How do you feel?" I stared at her. "You were in my room last night." Her smile faltered. "I was in the observation room all night. That's protocol." "No, you were sitting in that chair. You had a laptop." "That must have been a dream. Very common during sleep studies. The brain sometimes incorporates the clinical setting into dream narratives." She sounded so reasonable, so professional, but I could see the chair, and on the seat, there was an indentation, like someone had been sitting there for hours. "I'd like to see the footage," I said, "from the camera." "That's not typically shared with patients. Privacy protocol. It's footage of me, in my room. I have a right to see it." Something flickered across her face. Annoyance, or maybe fear. "I can request approval from the director. It might take a few days. For now, you're free to go. We'll contact you about the results." I left the Morpheus Institute that morning, drove straight home, slept for 12 hours. Dreamless sleep. The first I'd had in months. I thought maybe the study had actually worked. Then, 3 days later, I got the call. "This is Dr. Chen from the Morpheus Institute. We need you to come back in. Immediately. We found something unusual in your results." I didn't want to go back, but curiosity won. Dr. Chen met me in his office. He was older than I expected. 60s. Deep circles under his eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Your brain activity during the study was remarkable," he said. "You achieved RM stage 5. I thought there were only 4 stages. Officially, yes, but we've documented a 5th stage in 0.3% of patients, a state of consciousness where the boundary between dreaming and waking dissolves completely." He turned his computer monitor toward me. It showed brain scan images, colored regions indicating activity. "During normal REM sleep, your prefrontal cortex shuts down. That's why dreams feel real. You lose critical thinking. But in stage 5, everything stays active. You're fully conscious, but you're also completely dreaming." "What does that mean?" "It means you were awake when Diana entered your room, but you were also dreaming. Both states existed simultaneously." My blood went cold. "So she was really there?" Dr. Chen hesitated. "That's where it gets complicated. Diana wasn't in your room. I checked the security footage myself. She was in the observation room all night, never left her station." He clicked his mouse. Security footage appeared on screen, black and white. Night vision. My room. I could see myself in bed, asleep, wires attached to my head. The timestamp read 2:14 a.m. I watched myself start to move, twitching, like I was having a nightmare. Then I watched myself sit up, except I didn't sit up. My body stayed in bed, but something else sat up from my body. A shadow, a silhouette made of darkness. It stood beside the bed, looked around the room, then walked to the corner chair and sat down. "What the fuck is that?" I whispered. Dr. Chen's voice was shaky. "We don't know. We call them projections. In stage 5 REM, some patients externalize their subconscious, create tulpas, thought forms that briefly manifest in physical space. On the screen, the shadow version of me was sitting in the chair, completely still, just watching my sleeping body. That's impossible. 6 months ago, I would have agreed with you. But we've documented 47 cases, all patients who reached stage 5. All of them created projections. He clicked to another file. More security footage. Different rooms. Different patients. In every video, I could see shadow figures. Some standing in corners. Some sitting on beds. Some crawling on ceilings. What happens to them? The projections? Dr. Chen closed the video files. Usually they dissolve when the patient wakes up. They're temporary constructs. Dream matter given brief form. Usually? He didn't answer immediately, just opened another file. 12 patients have had complications. Their projections didn't dissolve. They stabilized, became permanent. Where are those patients now? That's why I called you in. We need to run more tests. Make sure your projection dissolved completely. Panic hit me like a wave. You think mine is still out there? The footage shows it disappearing when you woke up. But we need to be certain. These entities are unpredictable. Some of them develop autonomy, agency. They stop being simple thought forms and become something else. He pulled up one final video. It showed a patient in a sleep study room, a man in his 40s. He was awake, sitting up in bed, talking to someone. Except he was alone in the room. But he was clearly having a conversation, responding to questions, looking at something standing beside his bed. Then he started screaming. He clawed at his own face. Blood ran between his fingers. Security personnel rushed in, tried to restrain him, but he kept screaming, kept clawing. The video ended. He's in psychiatric care now, Dr. Chen said quietly. Claims his projection never left. Says it's with him constantly. Whispering. Telling him things. Showing him things. What things? The truth about consciousness. The reality behind reality. Things human minds aren't meant to process. I stood up. I need to leave. We need to run the tests. No, I'm done. Delete my data. I don't want any part of this. I walked out of his office, out of the building, got in my car. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. I drove home, locked every door, closed every curtain, and I waited to see if I was alone. The first 3 days were normal. I went to work, came home, watched television. The insomnia was gone. I was sleeping perfectly. No dreams, just deep, restful darkness. But on the 4th day, I started noticing small things. My coffee mug was on the wrong side of the counter in the morning. The television was on a channel I never watched. My bedroom door was open when I was certain I'd closed it. I told myself I was being paranoid, residual anxiety from the study. Then I found the message on my bathroom mirror, written in condensation from the shower. 2 words. I'm here. My heart stopped. I grabbed my phone, called Dr. Chen. It's still here, I said when he answered. My projection. It's still here. Calm down. Tell me what's happening. I described everything. The moved objects. The message. Come back to the facility. We can help you. How? You said 12 patients had complications. What happened to them? Silence on the line. Dr. Chen? The projections aren't malevolent, he finally said. They're just confused. They're fragments of consciousness that don't understand they're not supposed to exist independently. If we can reintegrate your projection, merge it back with your psyche, you'll be fine. And if you can't, more silence. Come to the facility. Tomorrow. We'll figure this out. He hung up. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my living room with every light on, watching, waiting. At 3:27 a.m., I heard footsteps in my bedroom. Slow, deliberate. I grabbed a kitchen knife, walked to the bedroom doorway. The room was empty, but I could feel it. A presence, a weight in the air. "I know you're here," I said. My voice cracked. "Show yourself." The shadow peeled away from the wall. It looked exactly like me. Same height, same build, but made of darkness. Where its face should be, there was just void. "What do you want?" I whispered. It tilted its head, exactly the way I tilt my head when I'm thinking. Then it spoke, in my voice. "I want to understand why I exist." I nearly dropped the knife. "You're not real. You're just a dream, a mistake. I'm as real as you are. More real, maybe. I'm everything you suppress, every thought you don't want to acknowledge, every impulse you deny. I'm you without the lies you tell yourself. Dr. Chen said you'll dissolve. You're temporary." It laughed. My laugh, but wrong. Dr. Chen doesn't understand what he's created. The Morpheus Institute isn't studying sleep. It's building a bridge between conscious and unconscious, between real and unreal. And people like you are the foundation. It stepped closer. Every patient who reaches stage 5 creates a projection. But the projections aren't random. They're doors, gateways, and something on the other side is learning how to walk through. My throat went dry. What's on the other side? Everything you dream, everything humanity has ever dreamed. The collective unconscious made manifest. Gods and monsters, nightmares and wishes. All of it waiting, all of it hungry. The shadow reached out its hand. "Diana isn't a technician. She's the first one who made it through. 20 years ago. Patient 0. She stays at the Institute now, helps others cross over, helps more doorways open." I thought about Diana's cold hand, her flat voice, her eyes reflecting screen light. "The 12 patients who had complications," the shadow continued. "They're not suffering. They're transitioning, becoming bridges themselves. Soon there will be hundreds, then thousands, and the boundary between dreaming and waking will collapse entirely." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you can stop it, or join it. The choice is yours." It pointed at me with one dark finger. "If you go back to the Institute tomorrow, they'll reintegrate me. Pull me back inside you, and you'll forget all of this. You'll sleep peacefully for the rest of your life, never knowing what you were part of." "And if I don't go back?" "Then I stay separate, and I'll show you everything, every truth, every horror, every beautiful, terrible thing that exists in the spaces between thoughts. You'll never be ignorant again, but you'll never be comfortable again either." I stood there, knife in hand, staring at my own shadow. "What would you choose?" I asked. It smiled. I couldn't see its mouth, but I felt it smile. I already chose. The moment I opened my eyes in that room, I chose to exist. That's more than most people ever do. They sleepwalk through their entire lives. At least I'm awake. It turned and walked toward my bedroom window, passed through it like smoke. I ran to the window, looked out. The street was empty, but in every window of every house, I could see them. Shadows, standing behind sleeping people, watching, waiting. I didn't go back to the Morpheus Institute. I didn't call Dr. Chen. I changed my name, moved to a different city, started over. But my projection follows me. I see it sometimes, in mirrors, in photographs, standing just behind me, always watching. And every night when I sleep, I dream of the Institute. I dream of Diana walking the halls, opening doors to patient rooms, whispering to their projections, teaching them to stay, teaching them to be real. I dream of the shadow figures spreading, one patient at a time, one sleeper at a time. I dream of the day when everyone's shadow learns to think for itself, and I dream of what comes after. Last week, I saw a news article. The Morpheus Institute is expanding, opening facilities in 12 new cities. Their success rate for treating sleep disorders is now 99%. I wonder about that missing 1%. I wonder if they're like me. Awake, actually awake, for the first time in their lives, and terrified of what that means. My shadow is standing behind me right now as I write this. I can feel it, reading over my shoulder, thinking thoughts. I'm not quite thinking. Sometimes I wonder which of us is the projection, which of us is the dream. I haven't slept naturally in 6 months, but I'm not sure I was ever really awake before that. And now that I am, I can't stop seeing them everywhere. The shadows that stand behind every person, waiting for their turn to exist. The Morpheus Institute sends me emails sometimes, reminders about follow-up appointments, surveys about my sleep quality, invitations to participate in advanced studies. I delete them all. But I know they're watching me, tracking me, waiting to see what I'll do. Because I'm proof that the projections can be permanent, that the bridge can stay open. I'm proof that dreams can become real. And if dreams can become real, then nightmares can too. Every night before I sleep, I lock my doors, check my windows, turn on all the lights, and every morning I wake up to find one more light switched off, one more door unlocked, one more window open. My shadow is learning, growing stronger, becoming more than a reflection. Soon, it won't need me at all. And I think that's what they want. At the Institute, they're not trying to cure sleep disorders. They're trying to replace us, one shadow at a time, until the whole world is dreaming. And the things in the dreams are the only ones left awake.